What's up, brothers? Hope everyone's doing well out there. I've been out of town for a couple of weeks, but, you know, finally got a little bit of free time, so I figured I'll turn the camera on and come out here and shoot the shit with you guys for a minute. And, it's been a couple of weeks since we've talked. And since then, we've had the presidential election. Interesting times, right? The Trumpster is coming back. And a lot of people are happy about that, and a lot of people are not very happy about that. But it's interesting and it's telling about our current situation with men and women in the dating market and, just current affairs between men and women. It says a lot about it. Last week I was in my home state, the Buckeye state of Ohio, and I decided to meet up with a bunch of friends I went to high school with, people that I hadn't seen in quite some time. I was visiting family and friends and all kinds of people, but, I decided to meet up with some people that I went to high school with. And for the most part, I would say they came from generally conservative families. The girls are blonde American girls, right? Just typical American girls, right? And they seem fairly conservative. At least their parents did and their families did. And they grew up religious and all that, right? But we're out at a bar, having to get together, a fairly large group of people. And one girl makes a statement, and she says, "We just got set back 100 years," referring to women. Women just got set back 100 years with this election. That's what she says. That's what she believes. And another girl chimes in, and she says, "Yeah, I no longer have control of my own body. I no longer have rights to my own body." That's what she said. And, it's kind of a silly statement. I don't know why they think that, but a lot of women, they're, whatever. They have this belief. And one of my old male friends that I went to high school with chimed in, and he is a recovering addict. Well, I mean, he recovered 10 years ago, I would say, but he used to be an addict. Shortly after high school, he became addicted to, we'll just say, substance abuse. I don't know what all he was on, but he had an addiction problem. And he also got a girl pregnant in this time period. So he became a father, and so he was a father and an addict at the same time. And somewhere along the line, he found religion, became a believer in God, and he quit the addictions, and he made a full turnaround, right? He changed his life around. And he credits God to changing his life around, so he wrote a book. It's not a super successful book, but he wrote a book that covered all of his problems and what he went through and why he changed his life around. So that's just a backstory on him. I'm not trying to go down like a religious path here. But he chimes in after these two girls make these statements. After the one girl said that women just got set back 100 years, and the other girl chimes in and says, "Yes, I no longer have rights to my own body." He chimes in and says, "Do unborn babies have rights?" So, it's one of those comments that maybe he truly believes in, and he believes it's his duty as a believer in God and as somebody that feels like God has saved him and gave him a second chance. He feels like it's his duty to speak up about what his religion believes, right? And he did it in a fairly civil way, but I don't think there's any civil way of having that conversation. And instantly, these girls And not just these two girls, every girl in our vicinity, every girl that was there with us that night in our group, all like a switch was flipped within them. And they were no longer these sweet, nice girls. You know, they were being sweet and nice all night. I didn't have any problems with them. You know, I thought they were kind and pleasant to be around. All of a sudden, they just totally change. They're cursing him out. They're calling him a fucking idiot, fucking moron. You know, every name in the book. Calling him all kinds of shit. And he never insulted them. He never said anything that was a personal attack. He made a statement that said, do babies have rights? Do unborn babies have rights? So he was actually trying to strike up a productive conversation and allow his beliefs to clash with their beliefs and come to a solid and reasonable conclusion. But they didn't see it that way. You know, they were just attacking him and getting really nasty. I was really surprised how nasty they got. And then, out of nowhere, some of the men in the group, you know how they get. They have to be white knights, right? Anytime they see a damsel in distress, or even if she's in the wrong, they're still going to come to her defense, and they come in and they start calling him a fucking idiot. So when you have grown men and there's alcohol involved, calling each other fucking idiots, fucking morons, things happen, right? And so a fight breaks out, right? The two of these guys get into a fight. And then for some reason, these other white knights decided to side with the other guy, and they're just like kind of jumping him, you know? So I jump in there and I'm like, wait, this guy didn't really do anything wrong. He was having a reasonable conversation, and he's a polite guy. And he's quote unquote a man of God. And you know, you guys are just like whooping on him, and he didn't even do anything. So, you know, I jump in to try to defend him and try to stop it. And shortly after, they stop. I think once the odds are evened, people tend to, fall back a little bit, and that's what happened. So the fight stopped, and people like started to cool out a bit. And, the night was pretty much ruined. We were out at a bar. We were in public, right? So we had to leave. And afterwards, after having some time to think about it, that's really telling of where we are at, where men and women are at in terms of the resentment that men and women hold towards each other in the United States. I'm sure many of you go on Facebook. I'm sure since the election you've been on Facebook. And there's probably been conversations exactly like that, right? You've probably seen women make posts just like these girls at the bar made. And you probably read the comments and you see arguments, that are totally in line with with the story that I just told, right? It's pretty common. And essentially what it comes down to is, you have these two different movements, and one is a masculine, conservative patriarchy, that sort of a way of thinking. And that's generally what men fall into in general. We think we're supposed to make money, we're supposed to be the man of the house, we're supposed to be the alphas, we're supposed to lead, whether it's on the dance floor, whether it's on a first date, whether it's getting down on a knee and asking a woman to marry you. Men think they're supposed to lead, and they think they're supposed to, for the most part, be in charge financially and probably put the work in to make the money. They think that's the rule, that's the masculine rule. And there's a lot of women out there that still believe that that's true as well. But for the most part, the majority of what you see in the United States is women getting behind the mindset of the boss babe. And, typically the women that were really hardcore Kamala supporters, Harris supporters, that's the mindset they have, this independent woman, boss babe mentality, which is basically almost like a matriarchy, right? It's just the opposite of a patriarchy. And now you see movements like this 4B movement, basically women going their own way. And we've had men who have been going their own way for quite a while, right? And it's just getting amplified. It's getting stronger and stronger. Where do we go from here in terms of elections? Do you think the next Democratic candidate, do you think it would slide if he was a guy, if he was a man? Like, they're going to have a lot of trouble getting a male candidate in there because they've gotten the hopes up of these boss babes so much that by the time the next election comes around, they're going to be excited and passionate about getting another female candidate in there, and it's going to be just this big clash. This is where we're at. It's come down to this, where it's this big feud. It's sort of it's not only a clash of egos, it's actually the leaders of our society. It's deeper. I've always viewed politics from a viewpoint of just let me know the policies of the current administration and what changes may take place. Tell me what the rules are so I'll know what to do. And typically when a Democrat is in the office, it's geared towards not necessarily handouts, but like social government assistance, we could say. Things like that. And like during the Obama administration, when I was in college, I benefited a lot from his administration. The money that I was getting when I would do my tax return, I was a single man getting like $5,000 or so back when I would do my taxes. And his policies directly reflected that. So there are beneficial, there's ways that you can look at either side, and if you play your cards right, you can receive benefits. But now that I'm older, when there's a conservative in office, particularly one like Trump, if you are a business owner, if you are a hustler, if you're a go-getter, a candidate like Trump is really beneficial. There's no question about that. It can really help you out. And not just his policies. There's a certain financial optimism, I guess I would call it. A certain optimism in terms of numbers that seems to take over. Like as soon as Trump won the election, it was like stock market up, cryptocurrency up, people's views on YouTube up, like instantly. It was this stimulus that hits everything because he's such a polarizing character. I don't know what it is about him, but it just happens like that. So if you're somebody that's a worker, a hustler, you have to take advantage when Trump is in the office. And people can get involved in whatever, like the gender wars or identity politics all they want, but at the end of the day, we're all still going to be in the same, we all have to operate under the same set of rules. So you have to learn the rules, you have to learn what's going on, find out how to use it to your advantage, and that's what you do. But in regards to strictly the topic of men and women feuding and fighting, this is tricky. It's a tricky situation because for the majority of both men and women want the same things. They both want to have good careers. They want to be well off financially, and they want to have families. Right? Those are like the two. In order to have the American dream, that's the two that you need. And both of them want that. But for men, in order to accomplish the second, you have to accomplish the first. I mean, you can be a bum and start a family, but if you want to be well off, you need a good career, you need to make good money, you need to be a homeowner, you need to be able to afford a good life for your family. We'll just put it like that. And then you can start the family. And for women, it's a little bit different. Women have to sort of make a choice. I mean, some of them can find a way to have have a career and a family at the same time. But for the most part, they have to make a choice, or most of them, I should say, have to make a choice. Do you want to have a career or do you want to have a family? Because in your prime years, 18 to 32, those are the years when most women have their babies. If you have 4 kids in like a 10-year time span, that's like you're either pregnant, nursing, taking care of small children, for the bulk of that time. That's going to occupy a lot of your time. So women have to choose, do you want to have the family or do you want to have the career? Unless they're in a really good situation where they can do both. So you can understand why they would kind of be fighting for this boss babe, world that they want to live in. But, at the same time, what's going to ultimately win? Like what part of them is going to win? Which one do they want more? Do they want to be, wealthy business women, entrepreneurs, business executives that are 32 and single? Who knows? And some of them can manage to do both and juggle both. I'm not saying they can't, but it's very difficult. It would be extremely difficult to be, pursuing a professional career while you're pregnant. The first 10 years of your career, you're pregnant for 5 of those years. That'd be very difficult. But, with that being said, as a man, you kind of have to understand that what women are attracted to, what they want is to be boss babes. But what they're attracted to is a man that's a leader, a man that's in charge of the relationship. So regardless of what they claim they want, if you want to take like a white knight path and like agree with them on everything, you kind of have to understand that what they want, and if you just try to accommodate for what they want, and that's going to be your route by giving them what they want, you're not going to give them what they're attracted to, so, and let's be honest, like a guy like Trump, ugly as hell, but alpha as hell, right? He's a leader. He takes charge of situations. He's basically operates in his own frame. He's a master of frame, and he's rich. He's always had a hot supermodel wife, right? So that's telling of what it takes to be attractive versus appealing to what they want. He's never appealed to what a woman wants, but he's always appealed to what women are ultimately attracted to. So that's something to think about as well, And I guess I'm not really trying to give you advice in this video. I'm just saying this is where we're at, and this is what we're looking at, and this is the confusing situation. So you can give in, you can give up, or you can go along. And, giving in means you're appealing to what people want. Giving up means you just quit. Going along means you understand what you're presented with, and you're able to read the defense and read what's going on, and you find a way to maneuver and still succeed. And I think that's really difficult for people to do, and that's why you see people breaking down and going crazy. There's people going crazy in 2020 too, no doubt about that. But Now it's on the other side. It's interesting to see, but you know, to see women going their own way and shaving their heads and saying they're never going to hook up with men anymore. They're done with men for forever now. It's just silly, right? Ultimately, the desire to hook up with the opposite sex is always going to take over. That's why it's important to utilize your skill set and be a man. You know, women are attracted to men, and for women, the more girly they are, the more feminine they are, the more attractive they're going to be to men. So don't abandon your rule if you want to succeed in that area. For men, it's an easy choice, but for women, it's tough because they have to kind of choose one or the other, and that's difficult, right? That's why I don't start fights and arguments. I don't try to pick on people. I don't even try to get in politics, because there's a level of emotionalism involved there due to the fact that there's sort of this catch-22 that they're always dealing with, you know. But whatever, you know, we'll get through it. It's just interesting. The election brings out this side of human beings, but guess we'll just have to deal with it. We'll just observe what's going on and take each day one at a time. But hey guys, I'm going to shut this one off and I'm going to get in there and try to get some sleep. I got a long drive tomorrow. Hope this video was somewhat informative. And that's about it for tonight, guys. Until next time, see ya.